What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Shaddoll Invoked deck. Shaddoll Invoked deck is a deck I wanted to do actually ever since this channel's existence, honestly. But I didn't have all the Invoked stuff, mainly because Invocation was still really expensive at the time. Although I still don't have 3 copies, I only have 1 copy. I have pretty much everything else, so I can do that now. And before we get to the deck profile, I just want to remind you to vote for which deck you'd like me to do a deck profile on. Who knows? I might end up doing it. Without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. First off, I run the 3 Shaddoll Wendy. This was one of the new cards out of the Shaddoll Showdown Structure deck. Now, the Shaddolls are flip monsters, so they have flip effects as well as effects when they're sent to the grave. Wendy is the same for both, which is special summon a Shaddoll monster. And they can be special summoned face down too. Also run the 2 Squamata. When it's flipped face up, you can just target one monster on the field, destroy it. And if it's sent to the grave, it becomes a Foolish Sparrow by sending one Shaddoll card from your deck to your hand. Or from your deck to your graveyard. And that's pretty good because when the Shaddoll cards are sent to the graveyard, they get an effect. It doesn't matter if it's from the field, deck, whatever. If it's sent to the grave, it activates. I also run 2 Shaddoll Beast. This is kind of like the draw power. When it's flipped, you can draw 2 cards and discard 1. And if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can draw 1 card. I also run the 1 Hedgehog. It's got a flip effect to add 1 Shaddoll spell trap. And if it's sent to graveyard by card effect, you can add 1 Shaddoll monster. I also run 1 Shaddoll Falco. The flip effect is to target 1 Shaddoll monster in your graveyard. Special summon in face down defense position. If it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, it can special summon itself from the grave. I also run 1 Aerial. This I can target 3 monsters in your grave and banish them. And then Shaddoll Dragon. This has a flip effect. Target 1 card your opponent controls, return to the hand, and if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target 1 spell trap on the field, destroy it. I also run 1 Performage Trick Clown. Performage Trick Clown can essentially revive itself from the grave. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Performage monster in your grave, including itself, special summon it. While it does reduce the attack and defense to 0, it summons itself so you can use it for fusion plays. And lastly, for the main monsters, I run 3 Alistair. Alistair, when it is normal summon, you can add 1 invocation from your deck to your hand. Now moving on to generic hand traps. I run 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Nibiru, and 2 Effect Veiler for my hand trap lineup. Moving on to the spells, I run the 3 Shaddoll Fusion. Shaddoll Fusion is one of the best fusion spells because it can fusion summon using monsters from the deck, although your opponent has to control an extra deck monster, which if you're going second is pretty much always going to be the case. So it gets into those fusions pretty easily. I also run 2 Shaddoll Fusions and another fusion card. I also run 3 Super Polymerization. You can use it for your fusion plays or disrupt your opponent by going into Venom Dragon or another generic fusion monster. I also run 3 Magical Meltdown that searches out the Alistair, as well as gets some protections to your fusion monsters. I also run the 1 Terraforming. And lastly for the spells, I run 3 Invocation. I only have the 1 copy, I'm missing 2. Hopefully it gets another reprint to knock the price down even further. Moving on to the traps, I only run 2, and that is 2 Shaddoll Incarnation. It allows you to target 1 Shaddoll monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and you can banish this card and 1 Shaddoll card from your graveyard to activate one of the following effects. Change 1 face-up defense position monster you control to face-up, and 1 face-up monster to face-down defense position. So it helps activate flip effects. Moving on to the extra deck. I run the 2 Shaddoll Construct. This requires a Shaddoll monster and a light monster. If this card is special summoned, you can send 1 Shaddoll card from your deck to your grave. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy that monster. Next, I run 2 Winda. Winda is probably the strongest Shaddoll monster in my opinion, especially the strongest fusion monster. Each player can only special summon 1 monster per turn. So it really limits special summoning from both players, but we don't do a whole lot of special summoning in this deck, so it doesn't hurt us as much as it's going to hurt our opponents. I run the 1 Cologne. This has 2 separate effects. The first is if this card is special summon, you can target 1 face-up monster, 1 face-up card on the field. its effects, so it's can be used for negations. And if this card is sent to graveyard, add one Shaddoll card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now for the Invoked fusions, I run one Kaliga, one Purgatrio, or one Mechaba, and one Purgatrio. Kaliga limits effects. So what you want to do is have both a Wendy and a Kaliga on field, because that way you limit both players to one special summon and one effect, so that's really going to hurt your opponent. Mechaba can negate any card by discarding a card of the same type, monster, spell, or trap. And Purgatrio just goes, that's just a card for damage because it can do piercing, gain a bunch of attack, and all sorts of stuff like that. Next, the Super Poly targets Starving Venom Fusion Dragon and Predaplant Trebotrium. Now for the links, I run one Salamangreat Almirage, one Cross Sheep, one Burl Sword, one Appaloosa, and one Access Code Talker. That's going to be all for this deck profile. So what do you think about Shaddoll? Do you think it's a pretty cool deck? Do you think the Invoked engine is the best engine for Shaddoll? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye!